Welcome to the Andy Beshear Podcast, a proud part of the Sirius XM Podcast Network. Today, we've got a great episode, and it's one that I think you, our listeners, asked for. We read the comments, we heard the feedback, and what I heard is, how about having some everyday folks that are on talking about the challenges they face? And then some other of you said, how about having some of our youth on, that they face such a different world than what we grew up in, and how about we listen to them about the challenges they're facing and what they think about politics today? So we heard and we responded. Today we've got two groups of high school students, both from Atherton in Louisville, Kentucky. They are part of a group that was touring the studio, and we just knew that this was a great opportunity because we wanted to hear from them. I'll ask them some questions, they'll ask me some questions, and hopefully we'll all get closer to understanding each other and where we need to go as a state and as a country. Let me tell you, this is a talented group of young people, and I think you're really going to enjoy hearing from them. Then we'll have my conversation with the Johns, my friend Jon Rabonowitz and John McConnell, as we process a wild week of news. You'll also hear in my Kentucky accent where I try to show President Trump how you actually do Thanksgiving, being thankful for things, telling people what you're thankful for, and not going on a rant that tries to further divide our country. But as always, we'll approach this with the podcast rules that are meant to make this a real and authentic conversation. As a reminder, here they are. Number one, be authentic. You be you, boo. Number two, talk like a real human being. When folks are going through addiction, they don't call it substance use disorder. When someone's hungry, they don't call it food insecurity. We want to make sure this is a conversation where we're using real words that have real meaning with real emotion. Number three, no debating reality. Far too often now we see people trying to argue against facts. Number four, tell your why. We want to get beyond just what you think and get to why you think it. We want our guests to talk about what drives them in life and how they make their decisions. When we talk about our why, we can give each other the grace and the space to disagree, but to understand somebody could be coming from a good place. And number five, have fun. All right, buckle up for a great episode where we don't preach to, we listen to our youth from today, and I think we'll all be a lot better off having done so. You're listening to the Andy Beshear Podcast. On the podcast, we talk a lot about our future, but sometimes maybe we should listen to that future. Today, we've got two sets of high school students. We're going to talk with three at a time. We're going to hear a little bit about the challenges they face, and then they're going to interrogate me. So if we can start, if you all could tell our listeners your name, what year you are in school, and how about one interesting fact?
My name is Hayden Gagel. I am a senior in high school, and I am transgender and identify as a woman.
My name's Bella Miranda. I'm a junior, and I'm really good at baking.
Okay.
My name is Bianca Phoenix. I'm a senior at Atherton High School, and I have tried many sports, and my favorite are definitely fencing and lacrosse.
Fencing?
Yes.
All right. How many people that you know also fence?
Only the people that are at the fencing club.
Okay. Very neat. So do you compete?
I do.
Okay. Have you ever been in a bake-off?
No. Wait, yes, I have.
So I just met Chef Damaris,
Yes.
here in Kentucky,
Uh-huh.
who is, as you know, a professional baker.
Mhm.
And she actually decided that she was going to get into baking, watching a baking show.
Wow.
And then she won that same baking show.
Oh my gosh.
I thought
That's
that was
amazing.
pretty neat motivation. So let's start here. How do you all get your news about what's going on in the world around you?
For me, personally, I want to be a journalist, so I do have WDRB and Wave and AP News apps downloaded on my phone. But for most people my age, I would definitely assume social media.
Yeah, I'm in a IB Global Politics class, and a big part of that is looking at news local, worldwide. So just trusting like more nonpartisan sites.
I usually get it from like just social media, but also there's when bigger things happen, sometimes in my philosophy class, they'll talk about it.
So as you look at the world around you right now, how would you describe it?
I'd say it's very overwhelming at times. I think it sparks a lot of curiosity, but I don't think that it's something that I don't have faith in, and I think it's something that like I'm passionate about.
I'd also agree that it is very overwhelming, and being a part of like organizations like KYA and Kuna, like being told that I have a voice, and then like seeing all these articles just flush with like so much bad news, it's like, oh, like, does my voice really matter? Does anything really matter in politics?
You just
So it's
described
like,
some youth in government programs.
yeah.
But also describing, and we talk about on the podcast a lot, about how the news just seems to hit you hard every single day, and it can really affect your mental health.
I think there's a lot of bad going on in the world right now, but there's also a lot of good, and sometimes it's very easy to just fully focus on the bad because that's a lot of times what you see. But it's important to remember that I like to think that there's more good people in the world than bad people.
Oh, and I've gotten to see that, sadly, after natural disasters. As you know, we've gotten hit by so many. We just had a plane crash in Louisville, where we are right now. But the outpouring that you always see from people of love. And at that point, not caring about any of those other divisive things that are out there, but just caring about fellow human beings. When you think about social media, if you had to judge it overall, do you think it's a positive or a negative?
I think in a sense it brings communities together. I think there's definitely downsides to it and limitations to it, but I think it does do a good job of reminding people that they're not alone.
So tell me, at what social media are you all on the most?
Probably TikTok for me.
TikTok?
Instagram.
I use a lot of like Twitter, or I guess it's called X now, but and like I don't know if YouTube really counts, but I watch a lot of YouTube stuff.
So if you were advising somebody in government or somebody running for office how to best communicate with your generation, what would you suggest?
I would definitely suggest getting with the lingo and different trends and being funny, especially if they're trying to target our audience.
So we're winning with the podcast.
I would just say giving them space to express their opinions and thoughts. I feel like sometimes younger generations feel overlooked or misunderstood, so just giving the space to understand that.
Just try to always research stuff that you don't understand. That's usually what I'd say. Just like, yeah.
What questions do y'all have for me?
Who wants to start?
I'll start. Do you have a favorite superhero?
Oh, so I admit I grew up collecting comic books. And so this new age of Marvel is great for me. My favorite. I'm trying to think through my favorite movies as they've come out. I'm probably somewhere stuck between Iron Man and Thor. I'm much more Marvel than DC. Though I do like Batman.
Good picks.
So I know we've been talking a lot about our lingo, but what's one phrase or whatever from your age that you wish you could bring back to our generation?
Will, my son, teaches me Gen Z lingo on this podcast, as does Lila, my daughter. She actually maybe had the best one, which was "do it for the plot," which I think sums up the beginning of this podcast. In our day, we had a couple of different things. We had more words for awesome than we needed. You had radical and tubular and everything from kind of skate culture to surf culture. That was what was going on at the time. We also had a somewhat annoying way of saying something we didn't mean and then yelling something like "not," or psych. And those two should not come back.
So Thanksgiving's coming close, and you did say you made pretty awesome turkey, but how do you like your mac and cheese?
Ooh, my mac and cheese is best when made by someone else. But I really like cheese. And so I like when it's made a little different, when somebody tries something new. And so I like it with different types of cheeses, but it's the traditional is always pretty good. Pretty good.
Well, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Now it's time for panel 2. If you don't mind, tell us your name, what year you are, and a little bit about yourself.
I'm Lacey Jones. I'm a senior, and I'm a photographer.
All right.
Yeah.
My name's Joey Gundolf. I'm a senior as well, and I play lacrosse.
My name's Elijah Gorman. I'm also a senior, and I play baseball.
What position?
I pitch, I play third, and I also play outfield.
All right. We may see you this season.
Yeah.
All right, let me start a little bit about how we did in the last panel. When you're curious about something, when you want to know about what's going on in the world, where do you go?
I'm gonna be honest. Social media is a big place where, I would say myself or, our generation is where we get our news.
How
But
much of that is YouTube versus TikTok versus Instagram?
I mean, I would say it's mostly TikTok now.
Okay.
I wouldn't really say that a lot of people are using YouTube for political things or news or anything like that
Just Mr.
anymore.
Reese?
Just Mr. Reese. But I would say TikTok is really where you see it. I mean, just last week I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw you pop up.
All right.
Yeah. And then
How do we do?
I loved it. I followed you right after.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say
Scroll
social
on for the
media.
social media.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely the same thing. A lot of social media. It's good to you can just search something up and then see different viewpoints and kind of what people think and have people summarize it for you. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, they basically summed up the whole thing. What I use more than TikTok is X or Twitter, like Hayden was saying. I feel like that's more of a informational social media than any other one is. So that's what I personally use.
With the world the way it is right now, where it seems like everything is divisive or people try to make everything divisive, can you talk about politics with your friends?
I mean, really only when it's something that you can really talk about, if that makes sense. I mean, I feel, our generation, it is overlooked, like they were saying in the last panel, but also sometimes, I feel like we're not really educated enough. It's kind of hard for kids our age to really understand what everything means and all that stuff. So I wouldn't say that it's talked about that much, really, only when something big happens or something that is easier to understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really talk a lot of politics with my friends. I mean, I will.
What was the last big thing maybe that happened with government or around politics that actually generated a conversation?
The recent thing with all the government shutting down.
Yeah.
Me and my friends, we were in lunch. We were talking about it the whole lunch period, and we never normally talk about stuff like that. So we were just talking about how they shut down. What are we gonna do? And then I was talking to my
Tell me about that. What are you going to do to help people around you?
Yeah, basically we were trying to think of something is there any possible way we can do something as citizens to override the government or do something they're possibly not doing. So, and we really couldn't think of anything at the moment, but obviously there will be some issues. And then I was talking to my pop culture teacher about it, and she was hysterically crying about it because she doesn't know how our generation's going to react to it. Like Lacey was saying, we don't know anything. So she was a little concerned for our generation.
Yeah. And just the other week, or actually the other day, I work for Louisville Metro Parks. I'm a lifeguard. And so
Back in the day, I did some lifeguarding.
yes, I've been a lifeguard for 3 years. And we were talking about the government shutdown, and we were just asking, is that going to affect our jobs? Since we work for Louisville Metro, is that going to affect us or, affect our bosses or anything like that? But yeah, I feel like, you know, conversations happen, but I wouldn't say it's...
To the extent that you are watching, what do you see out there that people aren't talking about that you wish they were? Is there something that's really important to you all that you wish people did more about or talked more about?
I would say the state that our world is in with climate change. I mean, like we were just talking about, the other day on TikTok, I saw there's a clock in New York of how much time we have left, and that really scared me. I'm going to be honest, it scared me. And so I was just kind of thinking, like, what can I do as someone, you know, for my age, or what can we do for, you know, because our generation is the future. We are the future. And, like, what can we do? Yeah, what can we do, you know, to change that? Or what can I do as an individual to change that?
So when I was your age, we had one of those existential threats about whether the world is going to continue. For us, it was nuclear war. And there was a clock, an egg gauge that measured how close we might be and what an impact that made. Now, I do remember we did drills where we got under the desk thinking, it's not a tornado. Is this really going to help? What else kind of hits you that you wish that you think isn't necessarily divisive amongst people in your generation, even if it's argued about elsewhere?
Kind of going off of climate change. I don't know. I haven't done a ton of research on it, but like from a lot of the stuff I've seen on like nuclear energy, could be like a really good alternative, moving forward. And I feel like there's a lot of misinformation on it that like makes people think it's scary, but the amount of waste, now, from what I've seen, that you produce from that is like a fraction of what you produce from coal or gas or whatever else.
If I had to say, earlier in your podcast, you were talking about funding and budgeting, and you were saying something about how private schools got denied for getting money that public schools should be getting, and I think that's a big factor. As private schools, they're already getting a bunch more money as public schools are getting just by kids going there, them getting all their accolades and all their sponsorships by other people. So I think that is a big worry.
Said like a great public school student, which I was too.
Trying to be.
What questions do you have for me?
Do you have first?
All right. So I heard you were a big shoe guy. If you had recently, how many pairs of shoes do you have?
Ooh, sneaker wise now, I'm going to say I'm 10.
10. Gotcha. And I heard you said you were a baseball dad.
I am.
What's your favorite team and what positions does your son play?
Ooh, so Will plays for Frankfurt High. He's on the podcast a bunch. He's a junior. He pitches too, and then he plays third, first, and outfield. So my favorite team, I grew up a big Reds fan, which is painful most of my life. Now, in 1990, I was in elementary or middle school, and got to go to the World Series and see the Reds win a game. At the time, the stadium was called Riverfront, and I had the very top seat in the entire stadium behind home plate. But as it turns out, it rained part of that game, and there was an overhang for the lights, so maybe we were in the right seats.
That's awesome. Yes, like with Thanksgiving coming up, what's your like perfect Thanksgiving plate?
Ooh, so I like Thanksgivings where a lot of family gets together, but I started cooking because of the anxiety that you can get with just that much noise and that much family, and that can sound strange given what I do for a living, but it just gave me a little bit of an escape, and so I like to be able to do part of the cooking. It just gives me a job, and then to enjoy, especially the dinner part itself. But it's really good the years that my cousins come in, because at my age you don't see them all that often anymore. And it's pretty special to see, your aunts and uncles, for me, the ones that are left, and to get to enjoy that time.
Gotcha. And you said that your like hidden talent was you're really good at making a Thanksgiving turkey.
Yes.
So what's your secret? Shit.
So you got to start with the brining. I'm a pro brined chef, and so in your brine, before you put it in, you got to get kind of up and close with this turkey, You got to get under the skin with the salt, and you got to press it in. All right, because that's going to break down the meat. It's going to give you a much better texture inside your turkey. I told you I'm into this. And then your brine itself, I believe in a citrus brine, because again, it just helps break it down more. So we're talking oranges and lemons. You got to do it at least for a night. I think you do it for a day. If you don't ruin at least one cooler when you're making the Thanksgiving turkey, I just don't know if you're putting your full effort into it. And then you got to stuff it. And I stuff with a lot of the same things, but also, your parsley and some other herbs. And then you cannot let it dry out. So you're constantly opening the oven and basting it. If you don't set off at least one fire alarm, then you haven't had enough drama in your Thanksgiving.
That's awesome.
Way too into cooking the turkey.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Okay, so since we're seniors in high school and we're doing real world work for something that we want to do in the future, I just wanted to ask, what were you doing your senior year?
My senior year, I was unsuccessfully trying to get anyone to date me. But you don't want to peak too soon. I was doing a lot to try to build a resume for college, probably more than necessary or too much, instead of focusing on a couple things that I'd really like. I was trying to figure out who I was. Now, I thankfully was picked to go to the Governor Scholars Program, something here in Kentucky. I'm the first Governor Scholar to ever be governor.
I went to GSA, so.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Governor School for the Arts came just after that. Martha Lane Collins helped create that, who just passed away. And I actually found myself there. I thought people didn't like me. I thought I was very unpopular and didn't have confidence in myself. And just that summer, being able to be there with other people, to have conversations, to realize that I'm not different. I'm okay just who I am. I think it's a big gift to be comfortable in your own skin, and you're only good in politics if you can let all that negativity slide off of you. For anybody who uses X, to let all that negativity slide off of you. And by the way, never, ever, ever read the comments.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for coming in.
Of course, anytime.
Next on the Andy Beshear Podcast, my conversation with the Johns. This is my conversation with two of my friends, Jon Rabonowitz and John McConnell, where we break down the issues of the day and hopefully help you process just all this news that hits us minute after minute. As a reminder, Jon Rabonowitz is an attorney, owns a restaurant and some other small businesses.
Why are you not promoting the names?
John,
we got to work on this.
But because you are not paying for that sponsorship.
Okay, fair enough.
John McConnell made his name in insurance in a family business, has been a landlord for a while, and now has a couple of small businesses himself. So are you all ready?
Let's go for it.
Ready.
All right, I think we've got to start with some tragic news out of the last week, which was a shooting of two National Guardsmen in Washington, D.C. One, Sarah Beckstrom, did not make it. I think she was 20 years old, passed away. The other, Andrew Wolf, is critically injured, and we're praying for him just like we're praying for Sarah's family. This was done apparently by an Afghan refugee who was relocated after assisting the U.S. efforts in Afghanistan, and it has led to an entire pause on all refugee programs, including any that would relocate Afghanis who helped the United States during our period in that country.
And one thing I noticed on this is that his final approval came through April of this year. So it actually came through for them for the asylum this year.
Yes, I think he came over in 21 under the Biden administration, but granted asylum in April this year. But this is somebody that was, for what's been released, was backed by the CIA, like working for the CIA against the Taliban. First off, let's talk about what a horrible tragedy it is.
Yes.
I will say I probably differ from both of you guys in that I am actually okay with them going back and looking at what was passed under Biden with the asylum seeking individuals from Afghanistan to go back and look. I'm not saying take it away, but go back and check because it seems a little rushed.
I don't
with the
think
number
that
of
there's
people.
anything wrong with a pause where you look at things critically. I think we need to be very clear that parts of this asylum and or the process has existed under both this president and Joe Biden, and that trying to blame a past president for one individual decision like this doesn't help, and I don't think is accurate. But I do have concerns with folks that we told we will protect you. You know, when we were in Afghanistan, our troops needed help from Afghanis, and they put their lives on the line and the lives of their families that could have been killed or slaughtered by the Taliban. And so I at least hope that we can do this in a way to where we feel like any things that were not being done in the vetting are done, but we don't abandon people that helped keep our troops safe while we were there.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. And again, we are recording this on Monday, and we don't really know a motive. We don't know whether this is an individual with mental health issues. Some reports are saying that he had financial issues, but he drove across country. It seems like it was somewhat targeted in terms of what he wanted to accomplish. Just horrifically sad, and not too far from home. These were two guardsmen from West Virginia.
And I worry about the guard that's there because they're not trained to do what they're being asked to do. They're not trained in normal police operations. They're not trained the same way or have the same experience to see threats that might be coming their way. They're trained to help in logistics for our armed forces. They're trained to respond to natural disasters. I had said on this podcast before and publicly that I was very concerned about these call-ups, both in the legality and in whether we were putting our own guardsmen in danger.
Just a horrible tragedy.
And kind of moving forward, talking about a Thanksgiving rant that I haven't heard all of yet, but just kind of get your all's thoughts.
So in the past, we've always heard a president, Democrat or Republican, give a Thanksgiving address that is actually about giving thanks. That's about hopefully putting politics aside, coming together at a table, and just being human beings together. Just a part of Donald Trump's Truth Social post, a very happy Thanksgiving salutation to all our great American citizens and patriots who have been so nice in allowing our country to be divided, disrupted, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain other foolish countries through the world for being politically correct and just plain stupid when it comes to immigration. He goes on and then takes a shot at Tim Walz and takes a shot at him in a way that is probably particularly insensitive, John, to you, and certainly to Tim Walz. He says, the seriously retarded governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing either through fear, incompetence, or both, and then continues on from there.
Why do you think he targeted the governor from Minnesota?
I mean, he was the vice presidential candidate underneath him. But, I learned when I was a fairly young lawyer how hurtful that word is. I have a friend whose daughter has Down syndrome. And I think I used that word in a very different way. It was part of our nomenclature, sadly, when we were growing up. And he came to me in a very reasonable way, tried to educate me. And I pushed back at first. And then I went home and slept on it. Went through the next day and slept on it. And I came back and apologized to him because I could see how much that hurt him.
Yeah. And trying to understand why Trump lashes out at certain people on a Truth Social post is hard for any of us to put together, but to use words like that and just single out someone on Thanksgiving.
I get that you are incredibly angry over what happened in D.C. I understand that you were put in office to crack down on immigration, but probably a poor choice of words. Not probably, was a poor choice of words.
And a lot of words.
Yeah.
I mean,
he did wish him a happy Thanksgiving.
And then went on to do so much more. But to me, this just says this president isn't interested in being presidential nor good. I mean, this is just mean. And it cost him too. A vote he needs in the Indiana legislature. Republican, I think he's a senator, came out and said, I'm the parent of a special needs child. I have been vocal about the rights of those children. And after this, he is not going to have my vote on redistricting. And he can spend the next year trying to convince the American people that he should have a congressional majority.
Well, I did not read that.
Well, it's just, even from this president, words have consequences. And I just say try to be presidential.
Yeah.
Sometimes just put Happy Thanksgiving to all Americans, period.
Yeah.
And put down your phone.
Got it.
And moving to South America, we still have the activity in Venezuela.
Yeah, the report that came out that is being disputed, that is highly concerning to both Democrats and Republicans in Congress, is that our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, gave a kill order that resulted in not just one bombing of a boat coming from Venezuela, but a second time to ensure that there are not survivors.
So what I would tell you is that, one, optically looks awful, probably why we have the wrong person in that position to make decisions like that.
Definitely.
Also, I don't know that we'll ever find out the true answer, because I think he's denying it, correct?
He's denying it. Now, I do think that there will be a way through Congress to get to that answer. But the other thing that needs to happen now is they need to actually show Congress, and I really think the American people, their legal basis for their current actions. I mean, again, we read accounts of what it might be, but at this point, if you're taking this aggressive of action and you're talking about potentially land action against Venezuela, don't the American people deserve to know, especially if it could put American troops in danger?
Without question. Listen, we all want to stop drug trafficking. I think they've done that by going after at least 20 ships. And I think they've also now, we have warships over there. We have shown that we're ready to go to war if needed. I hope it doesn't come to that over this.
Well, and they keep using the word, we're at war with them. We're at war. And at some point, Congress has to be involved if you keep using that word over and over again.
It's also in conflict with pardoning the Honduras ex-president. It makes no sense. It's in conflict with it and just optically looks horrible.
This is the former president who was convicted of drug trafficking at a major level. The idea that you would potentially go to war with one country that you believe is sending drugs into the United States, but pardon someone else who is actually convicted.
45 years sentenced to.
Yes.
In pardoned. So I agree with you. I hope we learn more, and I do think it's a major, major issue.
Well, at least from my experience, yes, we've got to try to stop the supply of drugs. That means border security is national security. Thank you to all of our law enforcement that are out there seizing as much as we can, but we really have to heal people to get past this drug epidemic. We've got to get people into treatment. We've got to get people into recovery. We've got to make sure that there is hope and opportunity in all areas of the country. We got to have the programs where we intervene with youth that might be falling into it, that we've got to address the demand side and not just the supply side.
And John, now on a much different note, I know your favorite time of year was last week with Black Friday.
Well,
and what today, Cyber Monday?
I was going to tell you thank you, John. I mean, with 3 daughters and his family, I know that Black Friday sales were up, so I know you guys contributed to that in the economy of this country.
Hey, there is no question in my mind. I went shopping with my 3 daughters, and I was so frustrated the entire time. I'm also shocked. I think I told you this earlier.
Are you allowed to say anything while they're shopping, or are you, like, on mute?
I am told to go into the men's section while my 3 daughters and wife are on the other side of the store. And so I'm like, okay, I'll spend some time. I'll look for some clothes and everything's like small and medium. I haven't been a small or medium since I was in 6th grade. All I could think of is you would be loving this store.
No, I'm told, since both of you are named John, that we need nicknames. And so I'm thinking, since it worked in Robin Hood, Little John would work just fine for John Rabonowitz.
I mean, listen, if there's no XL or double XL, I'm having an issue in that store.
Little John and Johnny Mac. All right, let's as a final topic, turn to AI. And AI is being talked about in so many different ways, in so many different contexts. Will it cause mass unemployment? Will it help us solve complicated diseases in days instead of decades? I think one thing we know is it's coming. And how we adapt to it, how we embrace / properly regulate it is critically important, and all that's playing out in real time.
Well, and you look at the medicine that we now can develop that used to take a year to 2 years. Now AI can come in and work through some of those equations within a week to see. And of course, I think about the genetic side, mapping the genome and what that looks like, because I have a child who is autistic, but he also has a genetic defect that we can identify.
And what AI could do with CRISPR technology, and
Correct.
could you be working, 10 of these all at once, and people get the same result that the folks with sickle cell are going through right now to see if they can actually be cured.
Right.
Our law firm are big believers. If you don't adapt and accept that this is something a craft you should master, I think you're going to have problems. I think you, especially in medicine and in the practice, it's a tool you should use. Always verify. I'm not saying solely rely on it, but it is something absolutely that is the future that we should get behind. Now, I would like to talk to you a little bit. I'm reading more and more about these data centers that are coming in. Have we had any come in the last few years in Kentucky? How do you handle data centers and the issues with the environmental issues associated with some of them?
Well, when you look at these types of facilities, they need a huge amount of power. They do make the property they're on very, very valuable, but they don't have a ton of employees. And so for me, I think about three things. Number one, if they're going to come in and use a huge amount of power, they can't ask the families in the surrounding communities to subsidize them by raising the power rates on the families. Right. So that the facility might have slightly lower power rates. There are a lot of companies that get that and want to do their fair share. The second thing I look at is what the property taxes will be, because when you look at it, if they're willing to pay something fair, as opposed to try to negotiate them away, you've got a large amount of money that goes to schools. Right? You could take an underperforming school system and have the best of the best. And that's a really compelling case. Also, government services. You could provide, you could clean the roads. We're about to have snow with less of a hit on your families. There's lots that you can do that could be really beneficial. Then the third is, have they done the work to make the community want them? That means forming the relationships and not just trying to force it on someone. I see a lot of companies out there that I think are willing to meet all those three. They want to be good community partners. But I also see speculators that claim they're representing a company that don't want to pay the power rate, want to negotiate out from under the taxes, and then have developed very terrible relationships with the community and end up getting run out. All those things are important. So you got to find the right place with the right approach, and that's how I think it works.
Are we actively as a state, actively seeking data centers to come in, or they're just reaching out to you? Because I see that
there's a lot of interest here and everywhere else. I can't go into any negotiations that we may be having, but again, my approach is it's got to be a net benefit to the community now and into the future, because when you take that much power off the grid, you might not be able to bring in that next factory.
And water's an issue too.
So what is the net benefit today? And it's got to be more than just +1, because it has an impact tomorrow and the next day. And I think if these companies would approach the community that way too, saying, yes, we know that there are these concerns. Here is what we're offering. Then I think they'd be embraced by more communities. I also think you've got to be really careful where you want to put them.
Is there a lot of pushback in communities where these data centers have initially planned on opening up?
We had one group that wanted to open one in horse country that tried to put it in the one community that I think would fight the hardest out of any in Kentucky. They never came to us. They never talked to us. Instead, they hired a PR firm to try to announce it and got run out of town. Wow. You got to be very careful about how you go about it, because it is going to make a major impact on any community that goes in, positive or negative. Are you going to be a good community partner? If you're going to take most of the available power, are you going to invest in that community to offset any other potential opportunity you might not get?
And Andy, you make a good point when you talk about the power, because the grid's going to carry so much. You know, you're looking at a worldwide power, I guess, increased demand by 16%, almost just based on data centers.
Yeah, and only
growth.
growth.
Yeah.
And how long does it take us to bring more power online to where if you do use up so much of the grid and someone who comes in who wants to have a large factory, are you going to have to say no?
Well, and I hope this is where we can get in our governance and in appropriate regulations is we don't say they're just good or they're just bad. Mm-hmm. We accept that this is going to be a part of the future. How do we do it in the right way for it to overall be a positive thing for our people? I think some states have rushed it and rushed it quickly, thinking it would attract some other things around it, and they're going to have some challenges. I just want to get it right.
Yeah, it was interesting to read that there were 3 states that kind of dominate the data center marketplace. It's like Virginia, Texas, California, of course, 2 of the 3 gigantic states.
Yeah.
But to your point, I hope they're doing it the right way.
Well, and I'll say this, that for the first time, it looks like John and I out-shoe-gamed Andy on the show. Rarely does this happen. The first time in a while.
I did come directly from work. Well, somebody has to run the state.
Yeah, okay.
Always excuses.
Always running the state.
We'll remember that when he's wearing the shoes.
Yep.
We'll ask, are you still running the state? Or we're not really sure.
Always running the state.
I love it.
You're listening to the Andy Beshear Podcast. Our next segment is called In My Kentucky Accent. That's when I talk about what's on my heart and my mind, what I'm thinking about during this week. Today, I'm thinking about Thanksgiving and a president that couldn't just be presidential, but had to turn it into yet another reason to try to divide our people and create an us versus a them. Think about the history of Thanksgiving. Abraham Lincoln made it a holiday during the Civil War. This was an attempt at the ultimate example of unity, even at a time when brother might be fighting brother, when we had Americans on the battlefield killing each other. President Lincoln tried to make this holiday one where we could at least all come together and be thankful for the good things in our life. But what did we see from President Trump? A nasty rant on Truth Social where he attacked anyone in the United States that disagrees with him, even though that's supposed to be the freedom of speech he claims he's for. And then you saw him attack Governor Walz and use a term that should never be used because of how hurtful that it is. It's not like we're asking a lot of President Trump. Just be a little presidential. Maybe not be cruel for just one day, the day of Thanksgiving. How about try to show some decency? Or how about some leadership? Because I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want other people treating you this way. This is a guy whose skin is so thin that a commercial during the World Series led him to try to change tariff policy towards Canada. But he thinks it's okay to say all of these things on Thanksgiving. Listen, he's the president. He's got a lot to be thankful for. How about he focus on that? For me, I'm thankful for so much. I'm thankful for my friends, my family. I'm thankful for being governor of a great state, and I'm thankful for all of you that listen to this podcast. And I hope that it helps you a little bit week in and week out in this crazy world to try to make just a little bit of sense out of the chaos. But let me show this president how it's done. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. No matter who you vote for, when you vote, or where you vote, I hope you had a really good holiday. I hope there are things you can be thankful for in your lives, and I hope you're doing just a little bit to help somebody out that might be a little less fortunate. In our final segment on the Andy Beshear Podcast, backed by popular demand, is Will Beshear with Gen Z Lingo. This is when he teaches us different words that kids his age use, and we look really, really old because we have no idea what they mean, and we are a lot less cool than he is. Will, welcome back to the podcast.
I'm glad to be back, but I don't know about the cool part you said. I mean,
we are pretty cool.
These two gentlemen, I mean...
So everybody but your dad.
Well, it's them two, and then you, and then me.
You mean I'm lower?
Does he aura farm off of us?
He aura farms off of you. I mean, there's a reason
'cause we're fired.
SiriusXM signed you.
Now, I will say, Will Beshear today is wearing a shirt that you should sign up for our YouTube channel at Andy Beshear Podcast to see. It is drip.
It's drip. And going off that was actually a very good transition. Our word today is clean. Clean is actually very commonly used. It's an adjective. And it's basically
Like the room is clean.
No, it's actually about like an outfit is what. So like
Shoes.
those shoes are clean. They look really good.
Like if his suit is on
Yeah,
point,
if
you would say that looks clean.
If he looks really good.
But does it all have to be there? Like you could have a really good looking suit but the wrong shoes and it would not be clean?
Okay, so here's the thing. I made it too complicated when I was like skippity is okay and fire is really good or something.
So you're saying
that.
you made a mistake in our very first episode?
I've been relying on this to my detriment.
I may or may not have. But clean, it's the opposite. It's like you can either be it's clean or it's not. There's no in between.
Okay, how does clean compare to drip?
Drip is like, wow, you look really swaggy. Clean is like, hey, you look good.
Okay, see, this sounds like skippity and fire. Going back to episode 1.
So drip is better than clean.
I would honestly say I would take it as more of a compliment if someone said what I was wearing was clean. Because it's like slick. Like, it's like you were casually trying to look good.
But drip just
So
sounds
our shoes,
like you're
definitely clean. The Johns.
Yes, I think with his outfit, it's clean because it matches the jacket a little bit. With you, I'd say it's drip because it doesn't really match, you know.
It
and
does
you
not.
threw it on because it looks good and they're really good shoes.
Yeah, that's it.
Dad, I'd say you look clean. That's a really good looking suit.
Yeah,
clean.
Well, clean's in a drip. Come on.
We do have, speaking of clothing, some big news on the Andy Beshear Podcast. In 1 week, our merch store opens. We've got merch.
that is clean and drip.
It's both.
We're going to have T-shirts. We're going to have sweatshirts. We're going to have mugs.
Pullovers.
So don't purchase all of your Christmas gifts just yet. The Andy Beshear Podcast is going to be there for you because if your loved ones want one thing this Christmas, I'm sure it's merch from the Andy Beshear Podcast.
Yes.
I want a tiny couch in my room.
I mean, there's only one.
Yeah.
Now, if we're thinking in the future about different merch that we should make, and we want all of our listeners to comment, whether that's on any of the platforms that you can download our audio, or if they go subscribe to our YouTube channel at Andy Beshear Podcast, what they want to see. So, Will, you want to see some tiny couch merch?
I would love to see a tiny couch shirt. You know, I would wear that. That would be clean, drip, and fire. That's
would it only come in size small?
I think for you, John, we can make it in
Double
multiple
X,
sizes.
XL. Thank you.
Get John a schmedium.
It would just mean like
Medium's
the
out.
print, the design just becomes smaller as you grow in the size.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
It shrinks, is what you're telling me?
It shrinks.
And as we close out this episode, we promise that we'll get some of our best and favorite phrases to make that merch because remember, like our merch is going to say, we've been doing it for the plot. Remember, you can download us on all major platforms or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Andy Beshear Podcast. Your downloads and your subscriptions are what keep us going and keeps this conversation going. So make sure you're a part of it and let's do this together.